let's talk about money. We all treat it like it's this cold, hard thing, all about math and spreadsheets. But our biggest financial decisions, honestly, they're not made with a calculator. They're made around the dinner table, and they're shaped by things like pride, ego, and our own personal history. Today, we're going to dive into the fascinating and very, very human psychology of money. It's the one thing that affects every single one of us. And some people, they just seem to have it all figured out. Then there are others who feel like they're just always one step behind. But the reality is, most of us are somewhere in the middle, still chasing it. We've always been told that financial success is all about what you know. But what if I told you the real secret isn't about how smart you are? It's about how you behave. Okay, so let's jump right in with the biggest lie society tells us about getting rich. This is the one myth that keeps so many people financially stuck. And there it is, the big lie. We're all taught to chase that promotion, that raise, that bigger paycheck, all because we believe a high income automatically leads to wealth. But you know what? It's a trap. And this slide just breaks it down perfectly. On one side, you have the lie that society constantly sells us. The flashy car, the big house, telling you a high salary is what buys you freedom. But the truth? The real truth is that financial freedom comes from discipline. It's what you save, not just what you earn, that actually builds lasting wealth. So if behavior is the real key here, then we gotta ask, why do we act the way we do with money? Why do some of us save every single penny, while others spend without even a second thought? Well, it turns out our financial choices are shaped by our own unique life experiences. You see, every single one of us has a unique financial DNA. It gets molded by the generation we were born into, our parents' values, the economic climate we grew up in. All these things come together to create our personal and often totally unshakable view of how money works. And this chart illustrates the point brilliantly. I mean, think about it. If you were born in 1950, you saw the stock market go basically nowhere during your teens and 20s. So, yeah, you might be a little skeptical of stocks. But if you were born in 1970, you saw the S&P 500 grow nearly tenfold in that same formative period. Your view of investing, it's going to be radically different. So here's the big takeaway. A financial decision that looks totally crazy to me might make perfect sense to you based on your history. No one is crazy. We're all just making choices based on our own unique life story. Now, this brings us to one of the most important distinctions you can ever make in your financial life. Understanding the difference between being rich and being wealthy. They are not the same thing. This little comparison says it all, doesn't it? Person B earns more than 3 times what person A does. They are, by all accounts, rich, but they spend it all on luxuries. Now look at person A. Much lower income, but they live below their means and save consistently. Over time, person A becomes financially free. They become wealthy, while the high earner is still stressed out. And that's because wealth isn't the fancy car or the designer watch. That's just spending. Wealth is the income you don't spend. It's invisible. It's all the cars and diamonds you don't buy. And because it's hidden, it's incredibly hard to learn about or, to imitate. So how do you actually build that invisible wealth? Well, it really comes down to 2 of the most powerful yet super misunderstood forces in finance: time and tails. Okay, let's talk about Warren Buffett for a second. As of the data from our source, his net worth was a mind-boggling $84.5 billion. We all know he's a brilliant investor, right? But his skill, that's not the whole story. Not even close. Now look at this. 81.5 billion of that's pretty much all of it, was earned after he qualified for Social Security in his mid-60s. So how on earth is that possible? It's because his real secret is time. He started investing seriously when he was just 10 years old. If he had been a normal person, started at 30 and retired at 60, even with his legendary returns, his net worth would have been just 11.9 million. Not billions. You see, his secret weapon wasn't just skill. It was the incredible, unbelievable power of compounding over a very, very long time. And the other secret? It's something called tail events. So out of roughly 500 stocks Buffett has owned in his life, just 10 of them produce the vast majority of his gains. The same is true for businesses. Think about Amazon. Its incredible success is almost entirely driven by 2 giant tail successes, Prime and Amazon Web Services. The crucial point here is this. You can be wrong most of the time, as long as you are very, very right just a few times. Now, this all brings us to the big question. Why even bother with all this? Why build wealth in the first place? What's the ultimate goal of all this saving and investing? It's probably not what you think. This is it, right here. The highest form of wealth isn't a number in a bank account, it's control over your own time. I mean, studies have shown that having this control is the single most dependable predictor of happiness, way more than your salary, the size of your house, or the prestige of your job. This freedom, this is the highest dividend money will ever pay you. But to achieve that freedom, it requires one last crucial mindset shift. You have to accept that the returns from investing aren't free. There's always a price to pay. Think of it like buying a car. You can pay the sticker price for a new one, find a deal on a used one, or you can try to steal one. Way too many investors try to steal market returns. They want the gains without paying the price, so they try to time the market. But the price is mandatory, and that price is volatility, fear, and uncertainty. It's not a fine you pay for doing something wrong, it's just the cost of admission. And this shift in perspective is everything. If you see a market downturn as a fine, you're going to panic and sell. But if you see it as a fee, a normal, predictable cost for the opportunity of long-term growth, you'll be willing to pay it. You'll be able to stay the course and eventually reap the rewards. So we know you have to pay the market's price of volatility. But that brings us to the final and maybe the most personal question. What is your price for enough? Because without a goal, that goalpost just keeps moving, right? You risk getting stuck on that treadmill where more is never enough, and the ultimate prize, that control over your own time, slips forever out of reach.